friends. This is it's just gonna be like kind of an off-the-fly video. One of the very rare ones that I do where I don't use a script. Yeah, right. I take time out of my busy life to write scripts. Flat Earth propaganda. That's what I do. Only it's true propaganda to the best of our knowledge anyways. I mean, naturally not all of it, of course, right? So, that being said, some things are easier to prove true than others. Jeez. It's kind of loud off in the background, no? Pause that shit. Alright, so back to what I was saying. I believe I said something, the idea of some things are easier to prove true than others. Or at least, I'd say some things are easier to prove a lie above all, right? Sometimes the truth is hard to find, but a lie generally has a few key characteristics, right? At least, well, I was gonna say at least a big lie, but really any lie. Watch a liar. Let's go back to some certain footage of people that we see that we knew later on they were telling a lie. Like they admitted it. Not only that, it was just so fucking blatantly obvious. One of them will use Bill Clinton, how he was just with the I did not have sexual relations. Like they feel that they have to reinforce their movement, their lie with a movement, a body gesture. I mean, we've all told the lies, right? And I tell you, that is hard not to do. It's like almost like a natural instinct to wanna be like, I didn't, you know what I mean? You'll see people pointing the finger at, anywhere but here, right? But, so I guess my point is, right? We'll start with one. Let's start with the fact that it is just a belief. It's just like known science that our round ball Earth consists of a crust, a mantle, our inner and outer mantle, inner and outer core, right? Yeah, we know and can prove for sure beyond a shadow of a doubt, or at least beyond a shadow of anything that's ever been leaked to the press or anything like that, that they've only dug down 8 miles, and that was a huge undertaking. 8 miles, which is actually 12 kilometers, which is, I believe, about as high as a balloon can get, I think. I don't have anything right in front of me, but 100-something thousand feet is probably close in the realms of 12 kilometers. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm talking out my ass right now. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know. But, so, where am I going with this, right? I guess what I'm trying to say is, anytime you hear something like that, right? That they've only dug down 8 miles yet. If you were to look at the scale of it, 8 miles is like this, and then the rest of it to the center is like a lot. It's a lot, right? If it's supposed to be 25,000 miles around, and you only got 8 miles into the surface of it, that's a lot left over, right? So basically they say, well, it's just lava, I mean, it's that's how we know, just based on the lava, right? Um, so I mean, the lava's there, obviously, right? Does it come from the center of a molten liquid ball? No, I don't think so. And I actually should. I'm gonna go back to this. I actually should have started with something else so I could talk about this here. What I think it might be and whatever. But you know, what I'm trying to say is, anytime you hear something with millions of miles or trillions of miles or millions of light years or millions of years ago, okay? My question is what type of equipment did you fucking use to determine, man, look at this fucking bottle cap we found. It's a Corona bottle cap, and we believe it to be 5 million years old. Somebody comes through and they're like, no, silly, it's not 5 million years old. It's 37.4 million years old. Well, is it 38? Not 38! It's 37.4. I don't know what that accent is, but it's a head wobbler. Well, my answers are right. And yours are just stupid. The sun, 93 million miles away. And I'm gonna wobble my head as I say that. See what I mean? It works. It's 93 million miles away. So, all head wobbling aside, it's usually gonna be bullshit. It's gonna be bullshit, man. How the fuck did you determine? You know what I mean? What did you use? What kind of equipment did you use? Oh, well, they carbon date it. What they do is they dig something up. They dig up these rocks here, and they carbon date them. So if any of the science is to be believed, they'll tell you that carbon dating is just that. They're dating carbon. They're dating organic matter, organic material that's found surrounding the artifact. So if the artifact's down however many feet or whatever that it is, right? That they don't take the artifact and cut into it and carbon date it. That's not how that works. They date the organic matter that can be found around it. So that leaves, any scientist will tell you, that leaves about 10,000 years or so, give or take. So, you know what I mean? Like, where are you getting millions of years? How are you getting this? Okay? They say, oh, well, it's, the geology, they dig down and they can tell. Each layer is, is this much because it takes this much time to accumulate this much earth, right? Okay, well, I guess there's something to be said about that. Back when I thought the earth was a ball, and I never heard anybody talk about this, but I heard one person, but nobody else, right? Somebody had a theory talking about that the globe, or the earth, was steadily gaining mass. Every year it's gaining a certain degree of mass from the life that grows and dies upon it, right? And I mean, that actually makes sense. One way or the other, that does make sense as far as, a flat earth is concerned too, right? Makes sense that, there's a certain degree of build-up, I guess it would be the word. Another thing, just a little tidbit of information, where they thought that the Niagara Falls was made over, millions, trillions of years or whatever, when modern day geologists are saying, oh man, this thing's eroding way quicker than we thought. Just by what they can see throughout the timeline. That is something that you can look up, that it's actually, burning down way faster, right? I don't have the information in front of me because I never do. Find it for yourself, but it's out there. There's a lot of stuff you can find on YouTube about suggesting that the Earth is about 10,000 years old, maybe 20, right? And I'm of the belief that our planet has actually undergone a birth and a death probably every 6,000 years or so. Or maybe every 9,000 years. I don't know. But I think something like the pyramids is something that is left over from an old world. It may have been the Egyptians, or maybe they just built their place around that. Maybe because the reason I say that is because I was an avid, and I still do. I just not so much anymore. But I was an avid reader of Graham Hancock. And he had an interesting thing that he was talking about. How you have like the pyramids in Giza, and there are others that are built, so precise. And then there's a whole slew of them that are not quite as good, right? Like by a long shot, by a lot, not quite as good. So he said it's like tantamount to, you teaching your apprentice something, or somebody copying, what they see and attempting. So I just wonder if maybe the pyramids was something that was built with the flood in mind. They do believe that the Sphinx is, possibly older than the pyramids, which is interesting because, then that means that was a spot that, was known to be special, and, given the study of ley lines and stuff like that, right? How a lot of these structures line right up along longitudinal lines, or latitude lines, I'm sorry. That's interesting, which makes a lot of sense to us on a flat earth. The circles, they mean something. Every one, every day. There are calendars that are fucking old as dirt that are still accurate to the minute, to the day, today. So there's no wobble, spin, and travel, and all that shit. Just fucking forget about that shit, right? But oh god, where was I going? This is the point of the whole video, I guess. Just, one good way to decipher that the person that's talking to you knows very little more than you do, or they know lots more than you do, and they're giving you bullshit when they start talking about millions of years, trillions of light years, right? Distant galaxies, suns, harboring planets to have, possibly hostile aliens on them. That whole joke, aliens, they've been coming here for years. Motherfucker, those guys would come here once, maybe twice. Okay? The first time they come, they're going to yoke up a few of us, they're going to stick things up in our butt, and they're going to check us out. Okay? You only need to do that once. Okay? It's not something that needs to go on for freaking... Okay? If they're intelligent enough to get here, they're intelligent enough to probably not have to stick anything anywhere. Okay? to start with. There's that, right? There's that. Oh, jeez. There's the fact that there's tons of evidence and no evidence, especially now with how prevalent cell phones are. It just kind of seems to have, right? I mean, right now, by now, everybody should have a fucking UFO. Everybody should have an alien. Yeah. And like I said, they would come here twice. Once they'd take a look around. They'd be scared as shit of us personally, like, you know what I mean, to be caught, just a few of them, and they just go and get their buddies, come back and fucking nuke this place or whatever, you know what I mean, completely zap this place, be like, those guys, man, freaking in another freaking million years or another freaking 100,000 years, they're gonna be really, really dangerous, and they may pose a threat to us. So let's just take care of them right now, and that's how that would go, you know. Oh, they're friendly, and they just can't show themselves because people can't handle it. Like, not buying that. Not buying that. I mean, if people can handle watching Krista McAuliffe and all those the tragic story of Krista McAuliffe and all those other guys. Oh God, William Smith, Michael Smith, I think. Michael Smith, the guy that was piloting the thing. The guy who's a fucking science professor out in Wisconsin. Asshole didn't even change his fucking name or nothing. Yeah. So, on the one hand, we show the people this stuff. You know, we show them the Apollo 13 fucking nonsense and all the moon landing shit, right? So, people have paid their dues as far as that's concerned. Man, come on, people like my dad and grandpa, just fucking show them the aliens, man. Show them the aliens so they can at least fucking validate. You know, it's just ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous idea. Anyways, it is. Ancient aliens, fucking just taking credit away from mankind. That pisses me off. Now here's the thing. Let's just say that stuff's true about the giant bones in the Smithsonian Institution, right? Hiding them. Well, then that would make pyramid building a fuck of a lot easier, don't you think? If you had freaking 20-foot tall people and whatnot. And if that is true, and I'm just saying if, then maybe another look ought to be taken at the no forests thing, right? Maybe there's a little bit to that. Maybe there's something to it, but what was put out there was another like beta test where they'll put out a little bit of truth and just skew the rest of it so badly, right? But I mean, if we could find out a couple of those fundamental facts, like, see, I'm starting to get a picture in my head that, you know, I'm not going to say that scripture is ace word for word to be taken literally, but I mean, there's got to be a way to decipher that book if about what is to be taken more in a literal sense versus what is complete story. Is it all just stories that depict things happening in the sky? Okay, right? I mean, I'm of the belief that that's the majority of what that book is, and if that's the case, what are they talking about? All right, just bear with me for a minute. If you're a hunter-gatherer, what are you doing etching things into stone? And what are you doing building huge pyramid structures? I believe you can look through one of the pyramids in Giza or Gaza or whatever the hell, and you get the North Star. I'm not exactly sure on that, but I know that there are plenty of structures that are built that way. So, built for you to be able to see Polaris and be able to see what's going on around, right? Why are you doing this? Why are you obsessed with keeping time? I mean, do you think it's that ancient man was just so proud of themselves and so proud of their accomplishments that they wanted to build some things and say, hey, look at me, right? Look at what I can do. We think the sky is a clock. We think our whole world basically is a clock. Maybe they were trying to warn us or warn any future civilizations, right? That major things happen, changes, right? More than likely violent. And, okay, all right. I have some theories and some ideas. A lot of people believe that that's exactly what it is. A lot of people believe that there are signs in the sky that you otherwise would be able to see, but they're chemtrailing the hell out of the skies. And what do chemtrails do? People claim they cause Morgellons, or whatever that is called. Maybe it does, right? But there's one thing that they do, for sure, is that they get in the sky, they expand, and they stay in the sky. And they obscure sunsets and sunrises a lot, it seems like. Who's to say, right? Are there obvious signs in the sky right now that people would otherwise be saying, what the fuck? And they're covering them up? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. But this is what I'm thinking, right? I've already stated that I'm more of a dome person than not. But that being said, who knows how big the dome is, if there is one, or if it is just another plane above us, right? But I'm thinking a dome, and I'm thinking that what we have basically is almost like, it's like an egg. That's the dome, and it does the same exact thing underneath. It's right. This system, and if any of the ancient writings are to be to believe about saying that our planet rests on the great deep, that our land mass or whatever rests upon the great deep, like the waters of the great deep. If you're to think of it along the lines of like a pneumatic pump, where that, I believe, may be where we get our tides, where maybe there is a hole in the center. Yeah, I'm gonna, before I end this video, I'm gonna pause it, and I'm gonna go grab a few things out of this book. I'm gonna show them to you. It's pretty interesting. But let's just say there is a hole in the center, and we know there's a whole bunch of underground cavities, right? Which, by the way, when they dug down 8 miles, right? And people asked them, what's the most that you learned? Like, what sticks out in your mind the most that you learned? And the guy said, what sticks out in my mind is that we don't know anything about the makeup of our world, because everybody assumed that the deeper down you got, the more dense and tight and compact everything got, when they said the deeper they got, the more loose it was. And they found water. They found water the whole time. There was water within what they were drilling, right up till the end. Like, not a lot of water, but there was water in there, right? And I mean, that's interesting, right? So let's just say there's all these underground cavities that just basically, they're cavities, they're pockets like of air. And maybe our thing really does just bob twice a day and create these tides. Whether it does or not, right? Here's here's something that I found interesting. I'm not sure what scientist it was, but basically, there's a scientist out there now. See, geologists, most of them are, they're after the millions of years thing. That's what they think, and chances are, like, there's evidence to at least to suggest that that's what it could be. Okay, but there are other people who think that, like, they're looking for these um, radioactive isotopes, I suppose, and they found these isotopes in these rocks. And basically, what they had said is these isotopes should not have been there. The only reason that the only way they could be there, they said, because if the rock was if that shit was formed in an instant, not heated and cooled over millions of years and stuff, because they say that's what's going on, like that it's that molten lava or whatever that's in the center of our world. It's still like cooling, right? What I think, right? I think it's all based on chemistry, right? Which is a way more rigid form of science. You know what I mean? You do this, you get this. Right? I like that. That's nice. That's okay. So what if this is what we have? What if we have all the elements, right? All the things that have gone into the makeup of this world. Let's just say this is some sort of a petri dish, or maybe it's a more expensive model of ant farm, right? So the creator or the intelligent designer puts all the stuff in it together. Basically, the instructions would read something like, add 3 parts sulfur, 3 parts fucking magnesium. You know what I mean? A little bit of precious metals here and there. You know what I mean? Whatever. You get where I'm going with it. But everything that is gone into the makeup of our world, right? Say some of that is still going on, and what I mean is, let's just say it was all put together, and major chemical reactions go on all over the place, and it's hot. It's all hot. Everything's molten and whatever, right? Okay, and then you open up the floodgates. You twist the firmament or something, and you open up some windows in there, and you dump a fucking shit ton of salt water into the whole thing, and cause a large portion of the top of it to cool, right? And in cooling, maybe you get, you get, I don't know, just expansion and contraction, and some mountain ranges are created, right? We know we got tectonic plates. I mean, that's not a conspiracy. That's, they're there, they move, but that's what we know, right? The fact that seismologists, right? The machines that they use, the equipment they use, the fact that it can pick up the slightest little movement in, areas like the western United States, they're moving all the time. So, what if our world consists of a series of these chemical reactions where, that Yellowstone caldera, like, just, we're resting on the waters of the Great Deep. But within our chunk of land mass here, you know what I mean? We still have these underground reactions going on with whatever's down there. And maybe it's like this. If there is the tides, and if there is a whirlpool or whatever in the center, maybe our ring of fire gets to a point where a lot happens. And when it does, it displaces the land itself, right? Maybe a big, large earthquake type of things, because they do say first by water, then by fire. Well, what if it's first by water, then by fire all the time? That maybe the two go hand in hand. In other words, maybe these reactions happen. Maybe the Yellowstone caldera goes off along with a few other ones, which just displaces so much of the earth itself, of the ground that we're on. Displaces so much of it that the weight of the oceans or something sink it, right? Look into the island of High Brazil. That's an interesting story. There's stories. We got to take what we read and what we hear and try to piece together for ourselves what we think it might be. I mean, we don't got to, but I do because I enjoy it. I enjoy thinking like this. They won't tell me, so I'm going to do my best to try to use my brain and see what I can come up with. But so I don't know, that's where I'm at with it. Let me pause it for just 1 minute. Okay, so I'm eyeballing this book here, Alchemy and Mysticism. My buddy actually took it out from the library, and hopefully you can see it. I just want to point out a couple things real quick. Jeez. Okay, I don't know. Can you see this here? Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to fix the light. Okay, I thought this one was pretty interesting right here. If you look, it appears like you have the all-seeing eye, or all these eyes, right? Sitting above a globe. But if you really look at this black circle down here, you see the stars, you can see a sun and a moon, and you can see concentric circles on the inside. Over here we have some of the depiction. This is like an alchemy book, so I mean, this isn't, it's, like I said, there's a few things I just wanted to show you in here. You see the piece of paper at the very bottom on the floor? That is a maze. I'm finding this a lot in this book, these depictions of a maze. Now if you look at this person that's halfway up the ladder here, you see two keys. You see one key on the rung of the ladder, and you see a key hanging from a string. Then it looks like he has an anchor in his hand. But it could also be a tail, and maybe he's holding a sword or a stick or a cane. I don't know. I thought this one was really interesting. There's a lot of pictures like this, where it depicts the sun and the moon, like enclosed, you got that star up top. Does that have an eye? No, it doesn't have an eye in it. But what do you got here? It looks like 4 faucets, right? And you get these clawed feet down below. I don't know, it's just, it's interesting. What does it say? The inscription on the basin reads, "The mineral, the vegetable, and the animal mercury are one. Beneath the headings of virgin's milk, sharp vinegar, and water of life, the mercurial liquids flow into the basin. They form a single, pure, clean water. It purifies everything and yet contains everything necessary." I don't understand a lot of this, you know what I mean, all of this stuff. I see some depictions, that's all. Like, you got this one right here. Dude's showing the other dude all the kingdoms of the world. And there's the sun and the moon right there in the shot. He's like, look, you could have all this. And he's like, no, no, I don't want it. Please nail me to a wooden cross. I love it. I don't remember who said it, but I think it might have been Deep Thoughts. But he's like, I just find it really, really frustrating and even a little bit comical that our great, powerful God, could do all these things, but the only thing he was supposed to do was come here and die, so he could return again. I'm not going to get into all that. The only question I have, a lot of stuff in here about the tree of life also. My only question is like I know some people who are pretty heavily indoctrinated into the Christian thing, and and they say, oh, he's coming back, It's like, yeah, but I mean, how are you gonna know it's him? Is he a white dude with is he a white dude with a beard and long hair? You know what I mean? Like, is it exactly like in the painting? Well, at least then you'll know it's him, right? Yeah. I mean, how would you know it's him? Is he going to show up, do a bunch of magic tricks? Because you know what? You can be deceived. I'll just leave it at that. But anyways, this is one of the longer videos I've ever made. I do want to make another one eventually about air currents. And I'm even going to use my artistic skills with some drawings, Peace.